A cordial welcome to the ADFC Symposium. My name is Janine Steeger. I'm happy to walk you through this event today. Today it will be about presenting the results of the InnoRAD project. Inno stands for innovative, and the ADFC has picked worldwide best practices for good bike traffic concepts that can be transferred to Germany. More than anything else, they were looking for concepts that can motivate the highest number possible of people to switch from the car to the bike. It's about getting to know these concepts and also delving into this matter. How can most people benefit from it in Germany in a very short time? The project will be or is supported by the Federal Ministry for Environment and by the Federal Agency for Environment. We will shape this event in as interactive a way as possible. We are going to ask you questions through Slido. You will have a chance to participate. You will enter it through the hashtag ADFC. Now let's warm up a little bit so that we get an impression of who is listening and who is viewing this event. Please enter into Slido. Where do you come from? Which institution do you represent, or in which quality do you participate? Do you work, for example, for a federal ministry? Are you commissioner for the bike traffic in any entity? Do you come from a regional office or directly from the ADFC? Please let us know. Please type it in so that we get an impression of who is listening and who is participating. Probably you will also be interested in who is listening to you at this point. While we are waiting for the results to come in, let me also mention that we are happy if you spread the voice through your social media channels on this event, and if you bring it out into the country, you may use the hashtag InnoRAD, or either through Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. You may post your contributions and your posts, and we will find them. We can also share them. We can like them. We are very strong with ADFC and so many from the municipalities. We know that many of the listeners and viewers come from the municipal administration, so many bike commissioners, and from academia. We have many people, traffic planner, transport engineering studios, so many people that are highly interested in taking a second look at what's up for grabs now. So how can we make this fruitful for the highest possible number of people in Germany? A very exciting insight. Thank you very much. I may now ask Ulrich Syberg, who is linked up to us. He is the federal chairman of the ADFC. He will now deliver his welcome. So I take it that everybody can hear me. A wonderful midday from Herne, my hometown, from the TV studio in my home, as I might call it. I am particularly pleased to see that this privilege of welcome you is given to me, because the transport transition is right around the corner. We will provide you with another building block so that this ecological transition in transport can finally be implemented. Let me thank you for for everything you have done behind the wings. We will also be listening to a welcoming address of the Federal Minister for Environment, Svenja Schulze. I'm particularly pleased to notice that we will also have the first international guest. Let me briefly elaborate why the international guest is so important for me. I see certain cities around the globe that embark on this very long journey. We have people who favor protected bike lanes, pop-up bike lanes. Birgit Hebein in Vienna, who shapes the world or the city for livable city. Anna Hidalgo will be our video ambassador. She's the mayor of Paris, and it's exactly those people, fortunately enough, these are women. They make our cities into more livable spaces. Then we hear also Christophe Najdovski, my colleague, the president of the ECF. He is the one mayor, the deputy mayor who is responsible for transport. Christophe, I'm so happy to welcome you in a minute, and let me congratulate you on 40 years of ECF. Ingmar Strees, Secretary of State for Transport of the Land of Berlin. Then Ronny Meyer, State Councillor for Climate Protection of Mobility of the Federal Land of Bayern. Let me welcome in particular from the Federal Ministry of Transport, Carola Lambeck, who has supported us throughout all these years with her team in the Federal Ministry of Transport. And all the speakers during this day will be presented by our moderator. I'm also pleased to notice on behalf of the ADFC that we have so many guests. I cannot present all of them that are listening in live. Several parliamentarians from the Bundestag. In particular, I'm pleased to welcome Ingo Steuer with the parliamentary cycle bike, representatives of the ministries of the Federal Republic and of the various federal states have also joined us live in this link up with the ADFC. We must not forget the mayors and the mobility commissioners. We cannot mention all the engineering offices that have registered. They want to listen into the world. What's going on in the world of bike and mobility? And of course also the bike industry. Please get yourself into a retail store and wait how long you have to watch until you get your new bike. So thank you very much to the bike industry. So moreover, we have also NGOs and transport consumer associations. Thank you for joining us, especially also those who come from universities, the new professors from various universities that are being established right now in Germany. And my ADFC colleagues who work on a voluntary basis and they push forward this transition to an ecological transport with their own private commitment. I would also like to welcome the representatives of the press that help us zooming in on this topic of bike. All in all, more than 500 participants have registered and they are joining us live, probably thousands who just by happen chance have switched on this live stream. Cordial welcome to our InnoRAD final symposium, Innovation in the Bike Traffic. For many years, ADFC has been learning it. We need not reinvent the wheel. Protected bike lanes imported from the USA to Germany. I remember 2015, the North Rhine-Westphalian transport minister was so enthralled by what he had seen in Chicago. We have brought together people from various countries on the international stage. New City Conference, we met up again and again. We said we can benefit from your examples. And since 2016, we have been organizing international symposiums in Berlin and other huge cities. Thank you to the Federal Ministry for the Environment and to the Federal Agency for Environment. So this international learning curve has reached a new level in Germany. With the InnoRAD project, we have looked around globally. Where are solutions for the bike traffic that are easy to implement, fast to implement, and bring many more people on the bike? And third, make cycling also safe and comfortable for the younger citizens and the senior citizens from 8 to 80. That's our motto. It must be possible to move safely on the bike. The team has traveled around the world, has talked to engineers and studios, and has also examined to what extent these solutions can be transferred. The good piece of news is, apart from very small details, everything is possible in Germany. it can be implemented rather quickly. So watch and see. How can this be done? Well, you can read it in a fact sheet that will be sent to you. Dear audience, dear administration, dear politicians, today you can learn from the international movers and shakers what is important in implementing these concepts. We will also talk about acceptance and civil participation, and also we will address the question, how fast can this be done? In Chicago, it took 30 days to conclude this debate on a protected bike lane. What could we do better, probably? Here in Germany, last point. So please get inspiration and be keen on implementing this mega project, the transition to an ecological transport. Not only the citizens will be grateful to you, but also the cities as a whole. Social cohesion. I wish you a fantastic day with so much inspiration and a good exchange of ideas. Stay healthy and please keep your distance. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Ulrich Syberg. And now we are very happy to listen to the Federal Minister of the Environment, Svenja Schulze. She sent a video message that we're going to look at. Mr. Syberg, ladies and gentlemen, cycling is wonderful. I do not only say that because I come from Münster and I'm the Federal Minister of the Environment. All of you who are committed in cycling, you know that, and probably you also see that many things are moving in favor of cycling. Yeah, the pop-up cycling path in many cities of Germany, even Vienna, took them as an example, as a role model, even if they were installed in parallel to the COVID-19 epidemic. But the benefit is the increase of safety. Probably this could have been highlighted more in the justification to build them. So the action of a member of parliament against these pop-up cycling ways is just a reminder. No reasonable person can speak out against more security and safety of cyclists in road traffic, and therefore I do assume that these cycle paths will remain in place. The essential thing for cycling is more safety, and everybody benefits from that, even the motorists, because they are in traffic jams because there are too many cars and too few cyclists. We want to develop clear ideas of the fact how roads, how crossroads and public space could look like more climate-friendly and more people-friendly and cycle-friendly. And therefore, this ADFC Symposium for Innovative Cycling Solutions fits so well into this time and into our work. Today, you are going to discuss what is possible. It will be shown how municipalities and communities in other countries have given priority to public space and cyclists. And you will also hear of the experience of German pioneer cycling cities, whether mini hollards or modal filters in London, superblocks in Barcelona, or protected bike lanes in the US. Diverse and innovative tools show that it is possible and how it is possible. Our cities and municipalities can become more bike-friendly. I'm also happy and pleased that the ADFC has launched debates. I've heard that some of the debates were really heated, but this exchange of views is important, and many municipalities should be inspired by that. Our joint objective is to get as many people as possible from the cars onto the bicycles. In a livable city, people continue to be mobile, but in a different way, less often using their own cars. There is more space for green spaces and for public spaces. And we have to see every day that the distribution of public space is unjust. A big part belongs to the car, which is standing around most of the time. More cycling means more space for people, for playing, for leisure time, for staying there, and also for economic activities. Just think of outdoor hospitalities and restaurants. in corona times, and therefore reallocating and reassigning spaces, that is a major priority of my work, and therefore we promote and sponsor these initiatives such as InnoRAD and also projects such as reallocation of public spaces. Maybe we find a different name for that because it's not really attractive. Maybe you come up with one idea today. And the infrastructure for cycling should become stronger. And this is subsidized by up to 90% in the climate protection program of the federal government. 900 million euros are made available in addition for cycling altogether between 2020 and 2023. 1.4 billion euros are made available. 3 points and conclusion which are important. First of all, I wish you and all of us to have the courage for carrying out a real traffic transformation. Let us tackle that together. Secondly, I do expect a road traffic code for with more sanctions for speeders and more space for public transport and car sharing. And cycling has become a pillar in our everyday traffic. And finally, I would like to thank ADFC, which has been a reliable and good partner over the years. And now I'm looking forward, probably like you, to a courageous mayor. Dear Anne Hidalgo, I'm really curious to find out what you can report to us, and I wish you good ideas and findings in that conference. Thank you very much. We thank the Federal Minister of the Environment for this video message. And now let us look at the first great example. Let's look at the French capital. There's the plan Vélo, which is one of the biggest cycling plans in the world. After a short period of time and after various measures, the number of cyclists has increased by 50%. And the mayor who is responsible for that was re-elected for her courage. The plan Vélo is well received, and the mayor Anne Hidalgo sent us also a video message. Hello everyone. I'm really very pleased to join you for this event despite the current situation. I'm pleased because bikes are, I believe, the best, the simplest and the clearest way of showing what determined commitment can bring to a city and its residents during the ecological transition. Bikes improve the lives of those who use them and allow our cities to change around us. More bikes mean less pollution and thus healthier conditions for city residents. More bikes mean less car parking spaces and more space for pedestrians and community life. More bikes mean less noise, making city quieter and certainly more pleasant to live in. Riding a bike means seeing the town differently. It means sharing the town. We choose a ride to ride a bike when we want to take our time and appreciate the feeling of freedom. But we also choose to take the bike because nowadays it is the most practical and often fastest way of getting around the city. Above all, it is a choice that everyone can make, an individual choice that sets collective change in motion, a choice that should be accompanied, encouraged and supported by public authorities, a choice that should be rewarded by a more pleasant living environment. But we only choose to ride bikes if we feel safe. That's for certain. My priority is that all of us, especially our children, no longer hesitate to use bike paths. The bike illustrates the transformation of Paris. Originally built to accommodate cars, our city is transforming to give way to pedestrians and cyclists. Paris is therefore committed to a bicycle revolution, and I will continue to work on giving you all the chance to live a better life in the city. So I thank you and ride your bike.
And now we are joined by Christophe Najdovski. He's Deputy Mayor for Transport and Public Space in Paris. He will report on the huge changes in Paris, followed by a dialogue between him and Burkhard Stork, the General Manager of ADFC, who will join me here in the studio. The two will talk to each other. But first of all, welcome Christophe Najdovski.
Good afternoon, guten Tag. I hope that this presentation will find you well. Do you have my presentation now on your screen? I hope so. So I would like to share with you some thoughts and some practices about what we did in Paris during these last years. You know that all our cities were given to the cars with these overcrowded streets. Here you see, for example, a picture of the Champs-Élysées with a lot of cars. That was the picture that we had during several decades, during all last century until today, because the spaces were given to cars. So what we tried to do is to make understand that it's not a fatality, that we can also share the space and the public space in another way, especially more efficiently. And we can, of course, for example, give the priority to buses and also to cycles to be more efficient and to use less space in overcrowded cities. We wanted also to shift our paradigm about mobility. What was the motto during last century in the 20th century was the priority given to cars. And we want to make a radical shift in giving the priority now to pedestrians, to cyclists, and also to public transport. And that is what we are trying also to inverse the pyramid and to have another priority and to shift this paradigm about urban policies about mobility. What we did about cycling was also to try to adapt this shift of paradigm and also to give more space to cyclists, and especially by giving them a network like our mayor Anne Hidalgo said, of separated and safe bike lanes. By giving these conditions to people, we want also to give the possibility to more and more people to use their bike to commute or even also, of course, for leisure. And for example, we had some expressways and some highways that were built in the last century here along the River Seine and near the Tour Eiffel. And we removed one car lane of this expressway and we gave that to the cyclist. And of course, for the first months, we did not have a lot of people using this new bike lane, but now we have a great success and we have more and more people using it. Here is an example also of the Champs-Élysées. It was a very big fight with our police department because we wanted also to make sure that we can also have this kind of infrastructure for cyclists on the biggest streets of Paris. And it was a long struggle, but we did it. And having also bike and separated lanes in this big avenue was also a strong demand also for the people. This is another example, removing one car lane on Rue de Rivoli, which is a street in the center and a very busy street in the center of Paris. This was the first step, giving also the place for the people to use their bike and remove the place for the cars, sharing the public space, giving more space to people to use the possibility of the use of the bike was also a big challenge. This is another example also in the center of the city. Another challenge was also to give the possibility to the people to cross the bridges, because a lot of them were especially just for the cars. And here is an example of the quarter of La Défense, in which a lot of people are also commuting every day. It was not reachable with a bike, and now it is. We also, during the lockdown in March and in May, we had a new network of 50 kilometers of pop-up bike lanes So you can see with the yellow the yellow paint, these are new and just temporary bike lanes, but we are trying now to make them permanent. So we completed our network with these pop-up bike lanes that were raised very quickly in one night, just putting some paint, some concrete blocks, and you have a new bike lane. And it is a great success because you can see a lot of people using this kind of infrastructure today. And at the bottom of the picture, you have also now the Rue de Rivoli, in which now we have the 2/3 of the street dedicated just for cyclists. And the other third is just for the buses and the taxis. So we don't have any more motorized traffic on the street. And we have a big success because we have from 10,000 to 15,000 cyclists every day on this street. Of course, it was before the second lockdown that we are living today. Another example also of the pop-up urban planning was also giving the space for terraces and for the bars, and also to let them the possibility to work outside because, of course, of the coronavirus. And this was another example of removing the space for cars and giving them giving this space to people and to life. Here is an example of the consequences that we had about the traffic in our cycle lanes during these last 6 months. So you can see an average of 100% more traffic in each of these 50 bike lanes that are here in this picture. It is an average of our most important bike lanes in Paris. So you have at the rush hour and during all the day, a big change and a big increase in the use of the bike lanes, and especially during the weekend, we have just an increase by 3 of the number of cycling. So we have a structural change also that is given by these pop-up bike lanes. People are giving up more or less the public transport, and they are using more and more their bikes. So you have these consequences in this picture. This is also to explain that when you reallocate the space to other users, the people are responding present. They are okay for that. If you give the space for cars, you will have drivers and you will have cars. If you give the space to the people, you will have people, you will have pedestrians, you will have cyclists, and people just enjoying this new space. So this is our former express highway along the River Seine, which was transformed in a pedestrian zone and also cycling zone. Another example of reshaping the public space, the roundabouts of some main squares in Paris, Place de la République. It was before just a roundabout. Now it is a real square for people, and people are using it. Another example, Place de la Nation, also, which was also vegetalized. Another example that we did this last month, the former roundabout of Place de la Bastille, which was also transformed and given more space to people with 1 hectare of pedestrian zone for people, and also with a cycling lane all around this new pedestrian zone. Giving more space to people is also enlarging the sidewalks for the pedestrians. It is also giving the spaces to the children. We have a program of dozens and dozens of pedestrian new zones, especially near the schools, to give them also to give the possibility to the children to play. And also Car Free Day, which in September, and you can have here a picture of the Champs-Élysées overcrowded with people. So having in mind what were the Champs-Élysées in the first picture with a lot of cars, and now what it can be, especially during a car-free day, but maybe all the year with overcrowded people, we prefer, of course, this second picture, and we can, of course, also change our cities in that way. So thank you for your attention. I think that we can see that with political will, we can also transform our cities and give them more to the people. Thank you.
Christophe, great having you. Thank you for your presentation and good afternoon. So good to hear you and so good to see you. Christophe, I'd like to ask some questions. I think I've been to Paris visiting you maybe 2 years ago, and you told me how hard it is and how difficult to speak to all of the people living in these streets, having their parking space there, and sometimes how aggressive the discussions are. What is the situation now? Does the Parisians love what happened in Paris? Is everybody now completely in line and agrees to what you do?
Well, what happens in Paris? Hello, Burkhard, and first, thank you for your invitation once again. What happened in Paris? You know, we had elections in March and June this year, and our mayor Anne Hidalgo was re-elected. So the Parisians gave their answer about the transformation we realized these last years. Of course, it was difficult during the works. It is always difficult. But I think that in our cities, the people are in demand of reshaping the streets, transforming the cities, giving more space to people, to pedestrians, to cyclists, and also to with less noise. So it's not just about shifting from the fossil fuel car to the electric car. It's not that just that question. It's also the question of the space given to people, and I think that is why also our mayor was brilliantly re-elected.
Cool. And what we learn is if you do that and if you do it consequently, people love it and they re-elect the leaders. I think that's really important for all politicians. You can win with mobility transition, you can win votings. Cool. Christophe, last question. You are the president of all our European cycling movements. You are the president of all European cyclists. Is it just some isles where we have efforts like that? Is it just Paris and maybe Sevilla and a few other cities? Or can we see all over Europe that more and more cities and countries change how people move around in cities?
No, it's a matter of all European cities and all European people. It's not just a matter of the big cities and the metropolises. We had a meeting with European Vice President Frans Timmermans a few weeks ago, and he's very conscious about the fact that if we want to reach the carbon neutrality by 2050, we will have also to reshape our cities and to reinvent the way we are living in our cities. And cycling is a big part of it. So this is our conviction that cycling can help us to reach that goal of the carbon neutrality in our cities. And that is also, that's why we are telling to the European Commission and also to his Vice President is that investing in cycling will be maybe one of the most important investments of the resiliency and recovery plan for the next years. So this is also what we want to tell to the European Commission today. If you want to change the life and of the citizens, invest in cycling. It is a good investment.
Christophe, thanks a lot for all you have done. Thanks a lot for your answers. We let you go back to work now, that you can do more great things for Paris. And I really look forward when Corona is over and we can meet in person again. Thanks a lot, Christophe.
With pleasure. Auf Wiedersehen.
Wirklich sehr beeindruckend.
Really very impressive. Thank you very much to Burkhard Stork. We will meet up again later, and it's very impressive to see what's happening in Paris. Let's now take a closer look at InnoRAD project. Melissa Gómez has joined me in the studio. She is a scientific advisor at the ADFC Federal Association. She's going to brief us on the details of this project. Thank you very much. A very good day from my part. InnoRAD is innovative bike transport solutions that should be transferred to Germany by the Federal Authority for the Environment and by the Federal Ministry of Transport. It has been funded with my colleagues Svenja and Saskia Ellenbecke. We have picked 6 particularly successful examples from the international bike traffic promotion, and we examined them carefully. These examples can contribute to a significant improvement of quality of living in urban dwellers. Significantly more people switch to the bike from all age groups, and can also have an inspiring force for other cities around the globe. InnoRAD was meant not only to study those infrastructure concepts, but we also wanted to examine to what extent these solutions can be transferred to Germany. So this breakdown of those best practices should encourage local politicians and also urban planners to embark on innovative routes to have a better take on such profound solutions and to push them further down the road. And it was important to see examples that had been implemented in concrete terms in both large cities and can also be transferred to smaller cities. So we have picked 6 best practices. Modal filters by the example of London Millihollands and the borough of Waltham Forest in London, design of crossings in Netherlands, changing cities by the example of Paris, temporary car-free like the Ciclovia Bogota, or summer streets in Stockholm and superblocks in Barcelona. Let me now briefly address the individual examples. Modal filter. These are very simple, easy to implement solutions to reduce the negative impact of motorists and the negative impact in residential quarters. They filter out undesired traffic volume, so they create new breathing space for residential quarters. They are suitable for different residential structures. You do not have to reshape entire quarters. We have in Germany modal filters for a long time. We call them bollards. They are a central element of the toolbox of the 80s to calm down the traffic, although it was not initially seen as a specific tool for promoting the bike traffic. This modal filter can be exemplified here in London. You can improve the living quality. They have established quiet ways with the help of those modal filters. Various variants are possible. Modal filters through signposts, by structural barriers, or by reallocation of entire spaces. Mini Holland, our second example. In 2013, the London City Administration put to tender Mini Hollands. 3 boroughs, Waltham Forest, Kingston and Enfield, received £30 million each for the implementation of measures aiming at promoting the bike transport, following the Dutch example. The aim was clear. These streets should be given back to people by improved infrastructure for walking and biking. Waltham Forest took a range of different measures, creating thus not only good conditions for biking, but it also re-livened neighborhoods. The Mini Hollands are a solution that are also very suitable for suburban areas, suburbia, as it is called. They are good at making short ways more attractive so that you can renounce the car use. Intersections for everybody from 8 to 80 years. Intersections are hotspots of accidents in Germany. And accidents with a bike are a substantial share of this. Therefore, the improvement of intersection or junction designs is very important. We are aware there is no perfect solution that can be transferred to any situation. And we also know that in Germany there is a huge demand for further research into this topic. We have taken a look at the Netherlands, the most successful bike country in the world, and it's a trailblazer both for bike use and for traffic safety. As many other practitioners, we want to learn from the Dutch know-how and more than 30 years of experience in practice, research and design. There, such junctions are shaped in different ways. There are different alternatives. Protected junctions provide structural separated spaces exactly there to bikers where they need protection most. They reduce the complexity of the junction situation. They also increase the line of sight between bikers and motorists. But very important, an optimally protected junction is always tailor-made. Now, about this concept of junctions, there is a lot of misunderstandings. The dimensions of a protected crossing junction are important. They have a rather small radius. The motorist that turns right needs to give a clear signal. A protected roundabout is certainly an intuitive solution. They are clearly understandable. They reduce potential conflicts significantly. We have also this blending that is also a sort of threshold for motorists. These junction types are known in principle also in Germany. They are also based on the law of public roads, and we have also rule sets, but they do not yet provide for such protected junctions. Our fourth example, Paris. Paris is one of the most densely populated areas in the EU. It suffers from bad air, extreme scarcity of space. The measures taken by Mayor Hidalgo and her team, like the Deputy Mayor Christophe Najdovski, have made sure that a better quality of staying in public spaces could be achieved. It shows how efficient mobility can be implemented if you reallocate the public spaces. Paris is a city of short journeys. Nonetheless, motorists take up the biggest part of public space. A more just and fair subdivision of the various transport modes has appeared to be the most suitable solution for the entire city. Temporary car-free Ciclovia in Bogota is the mother of all car-free programs of the world. For decades, all Sundays and all public holidays, hundreds of kilometers of main traffic routes have been reallocated to pedestrians and to bikers. The city is finally free of noise, polluted air. In Stockholm, streets that are normally open to the motorists are declared car-free zones in summer times. They are livened up with gardens, with plants, and with theater spectacles. So, not only do they have a positive impact on the health of people, but it also increases social cohesion and social togetherness. More than anything else, they are a tool to increase the acceptance when the local residents need to test out new concepts in the public space. They are also an ideal participatory forum for civil participation. They can be implemented in any city, independent of its size. Ciclovia has been adopted by more than 100 cities worldwide. Last but not least, Superblocks. Superblocks was developed as a new tool for urban planning with the aim of achieving environment-friendly residential quarters and to increase also the staying quality for the local residents. In Barcelona, several blocks of houses are brought together where the motorist traffic is designed differently. They have a maximum speed limit inside these blocks of 20 kilometers. Pedestrians and bikers have priority, while the public vehicle traffic circulates around this network of superblocks. It is important to see that the concept of the superblock can be employed in any urban structure. A block-wise form of the quarter is not relevant. The English concept could probably create confusion. Superblock, in Catalan it is called superinsula, super island. So the concept of this super island was implemented in a variety of cities. Now, we have seen those examples, but what are the major takeaways of our project? All best practice examples of InnoRAD can be implemented in Germany, but they are not yet established in the practice of the bike traffic promotion. All best practices can be implemented fairly quickly. In almost all best practice, we saw positive impact beyond transport, social cohesion, neighborhood, calm, health, attractive city centers, even in peripheral areas. Civil participation is of the essence, but how can it succeed? Well, so much has to be learned yet. So the bottom line of this can be seen in greater detail online with collected materials and photos under ADFC.The/InnoRAD. We are happy to present the results on your digital events. Please invite us. So once again, we do not have to reinvent the wheel or the bike. We have a rich toolbox providing innovative solutions that can be implemented directly. Please get inspiration from the various speakers and let us get down to work. Thank you very much. Thank